And we are live here on Diamonds and Hash Marks. I am the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
I'm the co-host, Peyton Pichardo. Yiddick.
Attaboy, that's a streak. You did it. That's
I
a
did.
winning streak right there. 3
I
straight
did.
shows. You got your cue right and you introduced yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Off to a hot start already today. Lots to get to. Had a great football weekend. The hot stove in baseball is hot stoving, and we got plenty to cover there.
Sure.
I think this is honestly some of the best time of the year in sports, like that late October, early November
Yeah.
point of the year. Although I think something could be said for spring when you have March Madness, golf, and baseball starting up all at the same time. Like I don't know what part of the sports year is better, whether it's this year, like this part of the year, or that part in early spring. Like if this were a buy, sell, or hold, and you could not hold, what would you choose? This part of the year, like late October World Series, NBA just started. NFL is in like week 7 around that time. College football, you got rivalries happening. Like, what's better, that or spring?
I'd have to buy for fall. I think I just am so invested and so in tune with everything here. Not that I'm not in tune with everything that happens in the spring. I love March Madness. I love college basketball. Looking at those upsets and matchups, wherever they get seeded and wherever they get bracketed. So it's hard because I mean you also got golf and the Masters, and like if we're still doing the show and there's
what do you mean
time
if?
When we're still doing the show.
That
was crazy. When we're still doing the show, come springtime, and we upload an episode on Thursday, we could be like making like master predictions and like who wins.
We could. Yeah. Although we've kind of steered clear of getting into any basketball whatsoever. Like, I think the most basketball's been talked about on the show is when I brought up the Bad Boy Pistons when we were talking about Adolis Garcia and the villain
That's
role.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the most we've seen out of basketball. Yeah. Diamonds and hash marks, as the name implies. Diamonds baseball, hash marks football. That's kind of what we do. Our allegiances lie with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Boston Red Sox. But we love all professional teams in those respective sports. And college football. We definitely cover that. One of us resides in Gainesville, so I can't really escape the Florida Gators.
You love all the teams in the NFL and college football.
No. I wasn't trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that, like, we love football in general and talking about all the headlines. I cannot. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it later. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever see myself looking at the Dallas Cowboys in a positive light, but we'll get there. Or Notre Dame, but I'm already getting off track. Let's go ahead and take care of the housekeeping items right before we get started.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that's where you can find this show. Also on YouTube, if you're dying to watch us. Diamonds and hash marks, basically everywhere. On YouTube, Instagram, gmail.com. That's where you can reach out to the show. Let us know what you think about what we think. If you're looking for us on Twitter, we are there, but there is no S. Diamond Hashmark on Twitter. Nest.pod, and What's Up Doc. Our show's very similar to ours, although they don't restrain themselves to just football and baseball. That we love them. We've been on What's Up Doc before. We're gonna keep working with Nest.pod to try to figure out when we can get on theirs, because we've had a couple of their members on our shows. But if you hit all of us up with 5-star reviews, you help the algorithm figure out who to recommend us to next. And that's huge. We appreciate that. We see all the impressions, all the libraries that we wind up in. I don't know how we wind up in that many Spotify libraries, but it's fun to watch. We love interacting with you guys. Keep interacting with the show. I did have somebody text us actually this morning about today's episode. And if we ever get that personal where you can text me about the show, that's beautiful. But we have to start somewhere. Hit us up, Instagram @gmail.com. I'm not just going to give you my number. That's not being broadcasted. But we can get there. You got to wine and dine me. I'm not that easy to get to. But it is a football first Monday, as we typically do on these shows, chronologically as always. So we're going to go ahead and start with college football on Saturday, work our way into the NFL. I don't know how much Monday Night Football we're going to talk about, though. I can't tell you what the matchup is. I know that the Jets are playing. because one of the guys in my fantasy league has Garrett Wilson, and he's hoping he pops off for 40 plus, but I don't know who they're playing. Do you know?
No, I can look at it right here.
Is it the Chargers? Are they playing Justin Herbert and the Chargers?
I don't know. Well, I think we said it in our Thursday episode, but then we were like, who cares?
Well, maybe. No, that may have been in reference to the Sunday Night Football game or something.
Okay. Yeah, Chargers Jets. You're right. Chargers Jets.
Chargers Jets. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who does care?
Well,
okay. All right.
It would be interesting to see if the Jets can win again and be 5-3 with no Aaron Rodgers.
Which, that storyline has been incredible to watch this year. Before we get into college football, let's just take a moment to understand that the Jets season, according to public opinion, was over within the first couple minutes of the first game.
Yeah.
And Zach Wilson, after losing the first 3 out of the gate, like they somehow beat the Bills. Then they lost, 3 straight? But he has since turned it, or something like that. I haven't been paying that close attention to the Jets season, but they have turned it around. But it's also weird because we're rooting for Zach Wilson and this America's team of the NFL because it's not Dallas.
Yeah.
To do well enough so that we can so that we want them to do well enough. We're all rooting for them so that we can see Zach Wilson benched and Aaron Rodgers to come back.
Yeah.
That's got to be weird for him, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No. Definitely.
The more he succeeds, the better shot he has at getting benched at the end of the year.
I
don't think that's a hot take, though. Oh, no, you were doing breaking news.
Kyler Murray will return for the Cardinals if all goes well this Sunday.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I don't know how much that helps the Cardinals at this point in the year, as poorly as they've done.
Yeah.
And Josh Dobbs isn't there anymore. He's tearing it up over with the Minnesota Vikings. I incorrectly reported that he was not going to start on Sunday. And Jaren Hall was starting Sunday just because they wanted to give him more time to figure out the offense.
Yeah.
But he's also an aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
So he kind of learned the offense in a week.
Yeah, he'd be
like, I think the way it was reported, they said that the offensive coordinator in Josh Dobbs' headset was telling him what play to call. And then as he was walking up to the line of scrimmage, the offensive coordinator was mapping out the play in his head. X is going to run this route, just so that Josh Dobbs could visually picture it and know that's what it was Madden for Josh Dobbs. And that's if Josh Dobbs operates on Madden and it works, by all means, I guess keep doing it.
Do it, yeah. All right, we're getting off track. We were supposed to talk about college football. So let's talk about it.
We did cover 2 NFL subjects that we did kind of want to cover at some point. But for what it's worth, let's go ahead and get started. NCAA football, the Gators, horrendous.
Yeah.
That was a bad loss to an Arkansas team that we should have beat and beat by a lot. And I don't know where to go from here. I have talked to several people, and the next 3 games for the Gators are all against ranked opponents. And we covered that, I think, a little while ago, where we said 4 games left. You have to beat Arkansas. You got FSU, LSU, and I forget who else. But you have to beat them. Well, you have to beat Arkansas. You can do whatever you want against the other 3. Next year is Napier's year where he has to figure it out. Otherwise, he's gone.
Yeah.
This loss to Arkansas, I think, essentially cements next year is the last year, and we need to see something.
Yeah.
Because that's a 2-win Arkansas team, 3-win Arkansas team now because we lost. The game was poorly managed. It's not like Arkansas beat us because they were that much better of a football team. Clearly we were more talented. Our defense couldn't stop anything. Our offense was scoring points. But at the end of the game, when we had Graham Mertz trying to clock the ball and Billy Napier sending out the field goal unit, that was a bad look. It doesn't look like it's managed well. And we're getting into end of year 2, year 3 for this offense. and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that game?
Honestly, no, because I just knew
That's fair.
that I was going to be disappointed probably again. And I
Yeah.
was more, I guess, in a sense, looking towards. I don't have the games pulled up. I'm looking at the SEC because they didn't have the Florida score on any of the top 25, obviously,
No,
because
I didn't
Florida is
see
not
it
in the
anywhere
top
there
25.
either.
So I had to like go into their conference. That's how bad Florida's doing right now, where I can't look at
Yeah.
them in the top 25 on ESPN.com and like see what the score was for the game. No, I was more focused on the Alabama LSU game and what was the other one? The Oklahoma
Whoa,
State.
hey. Yeah, Alabama LSU. Alabama, I think, played its first clean game of the year.
Yeah, they did. They
When
look
they put
strong.
it all together, yeah, suddenly I think Alabama deserves more room in this discussion when
They
we're talking
are
about college
going to
football
sneak their
playoff.
way in the college
They
football playoff.
are.
They
Yeah,
are.
you can't escape Alabama. You
Can't
can't
escape
talk
them, man.
postseason and not talk Nick Saban at the same time.
Yeah. No,
They're
it's true.
intertwined. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Florida
good,
drops to Arkansas wasn't good. A 2-win Arkansas team. It wasn't like we got blown out though. We lost a close game. We missed a field goal.
In overtime, yeah.
Yeah, missed a field goal to go into overtime. I turned the game off and went for a walk. I didn't even watch the rest. If we're gonna miss that and not win the game right here, we're losing. So I went for a walk.
Fair enough, man.
Florida's got LSU, Missouri, and Florida State. 3 ranked teams. I don't know how deserving LSU is of being ranked. I know they've played a tough schedule, but 6-3, a 3-loss team, ranked within the top 15. I guess everybody else has just had a rough year. But Mizzou and Florida State, we could lose all 3. We could finish the year 5 and we're finishing the year 5-7. Yeah. And people are gonna try to fire Billy Napier. And I don't know if I'm gonna get in their way. Wow, is all I'm gonna say. I don't know if I'm getting in their way. The University of Georgia escaped their game against Missouri. That final score was a lot closer than what I thought it was going to be. Georgia won 30-21. It kind of looked like the story of the year for Georgia. A slow start, and Missouri took advantage of opportunities, and suddenly Georgia turned it on, and Missouri took off and essentially stopped playing. Is kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
So Washington held on late to beat USC.
Yeah.
And I guess we kind of expected Washington to win that game. I didn't expect it to be as close as it was, though. Did you watch any of that one?
Didn't watch any of this one, but I did see the highlights from it. What's happening at USC, man? I mean, we thought even before going into the season, it's not like they had a bad game. Like Caleb Williams, for the most part, from what I'm looking at, and just like the passing yards and the game as a whole, like he had a clean game, like 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. It's just Washington.
Clean game.
Washington was the better team. Oh, hold on. So Caleb Williams had a fumble, 2 fumbles. No. 1 fumble.
3 fumbles. No, just
3
one.
fumbles,
Okay.
5 fumbles. Not 1, not 2, not 3. So he had 1 fumble. But other than that 1 turnover, had a clean game. The rushing game was on. Austin Jones, 127 yards, no tutties. But I mean, was getting it done.
I think it's just a story of the year.
Washington is the better Pac-12 team this year, and that's just how it goes.
Better Pac-12 team, better offense, better defense, because USC's defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
So what does this mean for Caleb Williams, I guess is the question I'll throw out there. So this is what, their 3rd straight loss?
Yeah, something like that. I think so.
So they lost to Washington, Notre Dame, and then who was the other team? Oh, cool. No. Kansas.
Washington, they beat Cal, for what it's worth. They lost to Utah, Notre Dame, almost lost to USC. They beat Colorado, beat Arizona State, beat Stanford, beat Nevada, beat San Jose State.
They lost to Utah.
Yeah.
So Utah, Notre Dame, and Washington. So they haven't lost 3 straight, but they've lost 3.
Yeah.
They've lost 3 of their last 4.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how much it actually, because it's not like Caleb Williams is going out there and absolutely stinking it up. Like, he's still, for what it's worth, kind of getting the job done. Is he doing enough to push their team over the final hump and win? No. Is Caleb Williams responsible for how well the USC defense plays any given day? No. Is he responsible for how many points get put up for the USC offense to make up for any mismatch, any poor play that the USC defense has? Yes.
Yeah.
And they're not putting up enough points, but how much can you ask of a guy that's consistently throwing 250 yards plus? Yeah, he has a bit of a turnover issue, whether it be fumbling or a bad interception, but how much offensive line protection is the guy actually getting? Because from what I remember when they played Notre Dame, he was scrambling within the first, 2.5 seconds of every drop back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, like, there are a lot of people that looked at after the game when he was in the stands crying with his family and calling that undraftable, or saying, I wouldn't want to draft somebody who does that. So, like, and that frustrated me, because we do live in a world where men commit suicide at a higher rate than women, and men traditionally don't show their emotion, or they show their emotion in an unregulated way. I have no problem with a guy caring for his football team so much that he cries after a loss. Like, I don't think we need to be the society that bashes guys for that. I'm totally okay with him doing that. I also think humble pie is a dish best served cold. He trolled Max Duggan for doing the exact same thing. When Max Duggan was crying, talking about the TCU team last year. So, I mean, if you're going to dish it out, you got to take it. But at the same time, I don't think we as a society should be trolling anybody over that. And that just bothered me. Like, as awesome as I think it would be for this podcast to grow and to pick up rights on some type of, I don't want to call it syndicated radio program, but like if we were operating under some label, I wouldn't want it to be a label that calls that undraftable and has, like, that pushes back against guys showing emotion, even if it is unregulated at times. Who does that hurt?
Nobody.
You know, who does it hurt? Unfortunately, him showing his emotion that way comes back and hurts Caleb Williams.
Right.
And that sucks. You hate it for the guy, but I mean, I personally have a hard time figuring out how bad I feel about it because of how he trolled Max Duggan. Like, if somebody cheated against the Astros, I wouldn't have a problem with it because of how the Astros cheated. But I do feel bad for the Dodgers. Like, I feel bad for Max Duggan, cheated against, no justice.
Right.
So I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about that. I don't like trolling the kid, but also he trolled somebody else for doing the same thing. So if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it. But we shouldn't be doing that to start with. Before I get too heated, let's move on to Notre Dame, because that's healthy for everybody. Notre Dame fans, I've already apologized to you where I said, I'm sorry, but I don't care. Actually, I apologize to absolutely nobody anymore. You are the inferior team and you lost to Clemson. So we may need to institute a new rule on this show where we are not allowed to talk about Notre Dame, where I am not allowed to talk about Notre Dame, because we keep getting these clips. We keep posting these clips of me talking about Notre Dame, then apologizing because they go out and beat somebody that I didn't think they should have, but they are the inferior team. You got 3 losses. I'm not hearing it anymore. You're ranked below JMU, as you should be. Apologizing and nobody moving forward.
Okay, fair enough.
You have any thoughts?
No, that's perfectly fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a messy game by Notre Dame once again to a Clemson team who is not good this year. But I mean, obviously they've won however many titles. I think it's 3. No, 3, 2. I can't even remember. 2. They won 2. They've won 2 in these past 6 years or whatever. Like, they're not having an off year. Notre Dame should have taken this game. They didn't. Moving on.
Yeah. Oklahoma State, you said you watched this game, and they beat Oklahoma, and they upset them, stormed the field. They're going to take on the fine from the NCAA for doing that, which I still think is kind of stupid.
Me too.
But tell me what you saw in that game. How did OU go from beating Texas to losing to Kansas and Oklahoma State?
Yeah, you know what? Kansas is a good team. We have seen Kansas, I think, these past couple of years like really like prove themselves to be like a top school football wise. I think they're ranked 21st even now. So
Yeah.
let me pull up the box score for this game because I wanted to touch on something here, but I can't. My computer is also pretty slow, so this could take a while. But yeah, I watched some of this game, kind of back and forth with another one. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, close game nonetheless, 24-27. I did want to touch, and it's still loading.
Yeah, so I
Thank
think what
you.
we've
Yeah,
seen from
Oklahoma
Oklahoma
State.
in the past.
Yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh,
It's all you.
it's
You're
all
the
me.
one that watched
Great.
this game.
Yeah. So, Alan Bowman, their quarterback, no touchdowns, but
That's
334
wild.
passing yards. No touchdowns, no turnovers, and then it looks like Ollie Gordon, their backup, had one pass for an interception, which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it was all the rushing game for them. Ollie Gordon is their rusher. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a good game other than that interception. He had two touchdowns on 137 yards. But like, I just don't understand how Oklahoma doesn't take advantage of the fact that they're holding him enough on defense to where they're not getting a passing touchdown to now losing by 3 points at the end of this one. So it was interesting to me. It's
Yeah.
kind of something I was just like, I scratched my head. I was like, that's not
It doesn't look like the
initially how that
traditional box
works.
score.
Right, like a
Yeah.
traditional box score. But hey, Oklahoma State, they found a way to win, even though they couldn't get anything going through the air. The touchdown wise, I mean, they did get stuff going through the air. I mean, 334 yards. That's like a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just something that stuck out to me.
Yeah. Oklahoma State not ranked last week, now ranked number 15. Oklahoma ranked number 17 now. They dropped 7 spots. So Oklahoma State ranked ahead of OU. Can't remember the last time that was true. But as
Wow.
far as the top 25 is concerned, it doesn't look like the coaches poll or the AP top 25 has had much movement at all within the top 10. It looks like Georgia still 1, Michigan 2, OSU 3, FSU 4, Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Bama 8, Penn State 9, Ole Miss 10. And Ole Miss is the only team that has moved within the top 10, pushing, I think it was Oklahoma. Yeah, pushing Oklahoma out of the top 10 and Ole Miss moving in.
Yep.
Louisville pops up 4 spots. Oregon State pops up 4 spots. Utah up 5. Tennessee up 5.
Yep.
Oklahoma State, after having not been ranked,
Notre
Missouri
Dame down 10.
I'm okay with that. They're ranked behind JMU as it should be.
Yep.
And you could cry about the strength of schedule as much as you want to about Notre Dame still being ranked ahead of JMU. My only comeback for that is how many wins do you have and why does JMU have more? Moving forward, it looks like the top 25 schedule is coming out, or not top 25. The College Football Playoff Committee is coming out with another ranking tomorrow on Tuesday.
Yep.
And what did we learn the last time that we saw one of those rankings come out last week? We learned that strength of schedule mattered more at the time you played a ranked team than just your record. And I don't know what to expect this upcoming week. I don't know if we're going to see the same order, the same structure. I mean, everybody within that ranking won for the most part. Oklahoma had the outside shot after they lost to Kansas. Anyway, I don't expect to see Oklahoma anywhere near the top 10 in that one.
Yep.
I don't know how much movement we see anyway.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
I think it still comes down to, out of the Pac-12, it's either Oregon or Washington. It's whoever wins the Pac-12 championship.
Right, and I think the only thing that I would add on to that, I think what we might see out of this next one, we might see Washington actually bump up to 4 because they did play ranked USC and they won 52-42.
That is true.
And Florida State did win against Pittsburgh, right, 24-7. So that's a game that they should have won. They might look at that and be like, "Wow, okay, Washington, they beat this USC team who's normally really good, but their defense needs a little bit of work." They're a pretty strong squad offensively. We might bump them up here. So I expect that to happen, and we'll probably see Ohio State stay there, and then we'll see Georgia stay there. So Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan at 3, and then Washington at 4. But also wouldn't surprise me if they overlook it and it just keep everything the same, and then Oklahoma is the only one that gets booted out. But
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me
because
at
at
all
the
to
end
see
of the year,
Washington at 4.
yeah, for sure. Because all that matters at the end of the year is that final ranking.
Yeah,
Because if you're Washington, you can be 5 as long as is necessary until you win the Pac-12 championship, and as long as you get in after that, it doesn't matter how long you were ranked at 5. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas. I actually expect to see Alabama and Texas flip-flop here. I think Alabama did enough in their game against LSU to pick up a spot.
Yeah, 42-28. Yeah, it was a clean game, like you were saying. So
yeah, honestly, I think Alabama may actually get hurt by the fact that Georgia is not as strong of a team as it has been in the past. At least so far, Georgia hasn't proven that they are as strong of a team as they have been in the past. Because previously, I think we would see something like Georgia at 1, Ohio State or Michigan at 2, whoever wins the Big Ten championship and whoever wins the battle between those two. And then we would see the winner of the Pac-12, probably Washington or Oregon.
Yeah.
Who knows if Florida State stays there? But I think Alabama, or if Alabama makes it, they're sneaking in to the 4 spot, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Alabama is not a 1, 2, or 3. Alabama sneaking into the 4 spot. Actually, actually, Georgia being a weaker team may help Alabama, because previously we'd see Georgia at 1, and nobody would want to put Alabama at 4 because it would be a repeat of the SEC championship, and we'd see them playing each other again within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Georgia being a weaker team may help Alabama's case, because all of a sudden you may have Georgia at 2 and Alabama at 4, and they wouldn't play each other.
Yeah.
It almost makes sense to rank them that way instead of being plainly obvious about avoiding that game. So, Peyton, they're going to do it. Do you really think they're going to do it? Do you think Alabama sneaks in if they went out and beat Georgia in the SEC title?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I don't see why not. And like, if they went out and like don't have another loss coming up to this point, then they're going to. And I just got to accept the fact that Alabama will be in there once again. So it's okay.
Yeah, moving on.
I'm just here to see some good football. That's all. Moving
on. We got one story left to cover in college football. This has been basically 30 minutes of college football already, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
The NCAA is joining Central Michigan in its investigation into the sideline staffer that looks like Stallions, who was wearing Central Michigan apparel on the sideline, like a traditional coach would wear on the sideline, who's wearing a hat and glasses at a night game, and a blue light is clearly visible on the glasses. Peyton, what does a blue light on sunglasses generally mean?
Red flag.
Yeah, red flag. Why?
Like, I don't understand the blue light. That's the only thing that I don't understand.
So I think a blue light, like, didn't Snapchat come out with a pair of glasses a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah.
That recorded?
Gosh, recording through the sunglasses. Oh, gosh.
Now, Barstool is doing extensive reporting on this, far more reporting than you're seeing anywhere else, and they're all over it. They have been all over this thing from the beginning. If you have questions or want to know what the heck's going on, I suggest you go check out Barstool and watch that, because... Or figure out what they're talking about, because it looks like the initial leak came from Ryan Day's family now over there at Ohio State.
Wow.
It also looks like this staffer was on the Central Michigan sideline and was recording the entire sideline. So just something to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
I guess something to keep your Snapchat recording glasses on if you're Stallions. So
yeah.
Moving on to the NFL.
Let's do it.
How about that? The Jags managed to not lose the bye week. We did not lose a single person. Nobody got hurt. It's been awesome.
I was actually,
1-0.
Funny enough, I was actually thinking about putting that in the run sheet before we even started. I was just like, nah, I don't think we'll talk about it. And then I saw it, I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
we didn't lose. Look at us.
1-0 against the bye week. It's a record. We did a great job. No one got hurt. No one arrested. No one lost, as far as I can tell.
Yep.
You can't say that about every NFL team, though.
Right.
One storyline that has piqued my interest, though, over the past couple of weeks
Yeah.
is the Giants are the Pee Wee football team. They're not awesome at football. They clearly have a dilemma at quarterback. It looks like Tyrod Taylor may be the better quarterback for the system that they have. Daniel Jones doesn't look like he's the guy, but they pay Daniel Jones a ton of money. Over the weekend, we saw Daniel Jones at the helm tear his ACL,
Yep.
which, by the way, is a ligament that I don't think does anything good for the body and is only there to tear in athletes.
And yeah, it's hilarious.
Because you never hear about somebody tearing their ACL doing janitorial work, or you never hear a teacher going out with an ACL for the year. It's always the athlete that makes a lot of money. Or sometimes, if your name is Nick Dockweiler, it's the athlete that doesn't make a lot of money that tears the ACL. So,
wow,
it's a ligament there that doesn't do anything good except tear and ruin people's sports careers. However, does this force the Giants to explore other quarterback options in a way that they previously would not have been able to?
Yeah. Well, first off, I really hope that we still keep our partnership with What's Up, Doc? After that
we will.
That you just made. And hopefully he will listen to this part of the episode. No, for sure. They definitely have some digging to go through. I mean, like, honestly, Tyrod Taylor, I mean, if it was like maybe years ago, like when he was with the Bills, like maybe that's when like I would probably be excited about Tyrod Taylor at the helm. I actually have a Giants fan, a friend who is a Giants fan, and I saw that thing. I saw the news pop up. I think it was this morning that Danny Jones is out for the rest of the year. Screenshot it, sent it his way, and I was like, "Hey, wellness check, how we doing?" And he was like, "Update." So I'll read what he said. I got to pull it up here. He said, currently in shambles. He'll be back in 30 years when the Giants are hopefully relevant again.
Oof.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Giants fans, we feel for you. But yeah, definitely got to look for a new quarterback in that regard, because I don't even know who their third string is. He was out there for a for a short amount of time when Tyrod Taylor got hurt that one game. And he was out for a little bit, but yeah, there's definitely needs to be some speculation there.
He's out for a year. He's not coming back to play football for a year. And even at that, like, he comes back, sure, in a year. Suddenly, he's coming back at the back end of year 2 of this 3-year deal that he signed.
Mm-hmm.
And you suddenly have had, I don't know, a full year's worth of practices, a full off season, and the first half of our NFL regular season to try out and figure out who your guy is.
Yeah.
Because if Daniel Jones comes back and the Giants still don't have a guy, then you can put up with, we only have one more season of this.
Yeah.
And we can cut him whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you do find your guy, I think it's much easier to look at the end of year 2 of Daniel Jones' contract and eat up that final year and a half of contract loss than it would be to eat it up right now. So while it's awful that he tore his ACL, this may be helpful for the New York Giants. Because they're being forced into finding another quarterback, and they have the built-in excuse of, well, he's out for the season. He's not coming back for another year.
Yeah,
so
that's a good excuse.
It may be helpful. You put on the run sheet, is that the worst investment of all time?
Yeah, I did.
And your answer to that?
Yeah. Why do you
it's an obvious yes, apparently.
Yes, for a mediocre quarterback who hasn't really proven himself up to this point, why would you throw $160 million for 4 years his way, like $40 million a year, maybe not all of it guaranteed? Yeah, you can fact check me on that. I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah, I'm looking up his contract stats. I thought it was only a 3-year deal up to that point. No, it was a 4-year deal.
Yeah. So
thanks. So disregard everything I said.
I don't know why you lock him up for 4 years when he hasn't really proven anything yet, and you think that he's your guy from the University of Duke, and it's all going to waste, and you're not going to have him for a year, and you're still paying him this amount of money. Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah,
and like even my Giants fan, even my friend who's a Giants fan, I've gone to him and been like, "Yo, what are y'all thinking? Like, why are you paying this guy so much money?" And he's like, "I don't know. why we're paying him this much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what
The
are you
Giants
saying?
front-loaded Daniel Jones' contract. So if they release him ahead of the 2025 season, they would only have a dead cap figure of $22.2 million. Which, sure, you're blowing this money, but the
Yeah,
good thing on the back end of this deal is you're not losing as much as you could
yeah,
in dead weight money. So
man.
maybe that's
So
helpful.
okay, if they don't see any like production out of Daniel Jones, does he get released before 2025?
Was that the last time we saw Daniel Jones on a football field?
No, I feel like
You don't think so?
he's gonna have a backup job, but like,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. I guess I'm much more pessimistic in my general view than you are.
yeah.
Because I would almost say that yes, it is the last time we see Daniel Jones on a football field. I don't think of an NFL team out there other than the Vikings. Hold on now. The Vikings may be looking at Daniel Jones to replace Kirk Cousins next year if Kirk Cousins does indeed retire. All of a sudden, I think that Daniel Jones is Kirk Cousins 2.0. Moving forward, though, because I don't want to get bogged down in that too far.
Yeah,
Um,
that's got to be a clip at some point.
the
Go ahead.
Eagles beat the Cowboys,
Yep.
and we got a text this morning that said, "I know you're going to clown the Cowboys, but hear me out, dude. I think you're right. I think the Cowboys did play a good game for what it's worth.
It was
But for what
one
it's
of more the
worth,
clean games, other than playing the Pee Wee football team that is the New York
yeah,
Giants.
yeah. But for what it's worth, I don't think you're good enough to beat teams even when you play your cleanest football game. Yeah, that's
Oh
the
man,
Eagles not clicking on all cylinders. You
yeah,
can't then expect to beat the Eagles when they aren't clicking on all cylinders.
with
We
a
saw
hurt
what
Jalen
happened.
Hurts as well.
Right. We saw what happened against the 49ers. It didn't look good. We saw what happened against the Cardinals. It again didn't look
Didn't
good.
look good. Yeah,
You
yeah.
lost to the Eagles. It's not looking great.
Nope.
This is Dak's last year. You guys are rolling with Trey Lance in the future, apparently, because I don't. You have to go beat Washington, and the back end of the NFC is not looking great for the playoffs.
Yeah.
At least the playoff picture, like Dallas, as it stands right now, I think stands at 6 or 7 seed.
Mm.
And the back end of that playoff picture in the NFC isn't awesome. So if you guys miss the playoffs, you're never going to hear the end of it from me. Once again, it's not a logo, it's a rating. I'm trying to get a t-shirt that says that or a hoodie that says that. Trying to get a cowboy hat, trying to get a cigar, like a box of cigars, so that I can start shows on Football First Mondays after the Cowboys lose, like Stephen A would. And I'm apologizing to absolutely nobody.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not a logo, it's a rating forever.
Yeah.
Moving on. Is CJ Stroud him? Where
He
did
is
that
him,
performance come from?
dude.
Yeah, golly. Now
Let's talk
we've
about
gone
it.
down this road before. We've gone down this road before, especially on this show when it came to Colorado, where we saw a couple good
Oh,
performances and jumped on the bandwagon, and we were like, yeah, they're it. They're going to the college football playoffs. Suddenly we're talking about Travis Hunter and
yeah.
the Heisman Trophy. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're not blowing this out of proportion.
But I think this is different in a sense.
CJ Stroud, I thought this
Lit
was
it
a
up.
dead division for the Jags to win for
Yeah.
seasons to come. CJ Stroud is the only reason that I don't think we have the division locked up for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I had a friend text me and it's like, are we literally watching a CJ Stroud masterclass right now? He made the Buccaneers look foolish on the offensive side of the ball. CJ Stroud had 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, no
NFL rookie
turnovers,
record.
NFL rookie record, no turnovers, and a game-winning drive. Have a day, yo! Like
I know,
So
that's ridiculous.
no, he's a rookie. He's got 14 touchdowns on the season with 1 interception. He's looking really good. These past couple of games, he torched our Jags in earlier this season.
Yeah, in Everbank.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is a problem, and we're seeing it unfold.
This is the guy that we said no way he's picked as high as he was because he didn't do well on the IQ testing. Turns out the kid knows football and can play football and understands how the game works. I think the Texans made a great decision here. Like, obviously hindsight being 2020, I'm willing to say that. I still wouldn't have picked him at number 2 overall like the Texans did.
Right.
But he had a passer rating of 147.8.
Yeah.
Stupid number.
Stupid number.
I don't understand what goes into passer rating. I don't know how we calculate that. I do know if we're in the triple digits, especially past 120, that's a great game. And he's a rookie who did that against a professional defense.
Right. Yeah. Good defense nonetheless. And you had a question that you wanted to pose here about the Panthers and what they were trying to do this offseason. Go ahead.
Yeah. Question for you. Real easy, real simple. Did the Panthers miss? Did they make a mistake drafting Bryce Young?
I'll just look at it through what happened this week and what's been happening, I think, for this whole entire season. Stroud had 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. Bryce Young had a touchdown and 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. He has 8. He has 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the year.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Tail of the tape. Both
CJ
very
Stroud's
talented quarterbacks, very young, talented quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is a little bit higher on the board than Bryce Young. So yes, I think the Panthers did miss. If they went the CJ Stroud route, man, I'm not sure what the Panthers scheme looks like offensively and what they have at the quarterback helm. Because obviously,
I haven't watched a single game.
No, I haven't.
I don't.
Either. Yeah. So,
also,
we'll
CJ Stroud has more passing touchdowns in his NFL career than Kenny Pickett. Does that say more about Kenny Pickett or Matt Canada? George Pickens had 2 receptions for -1 yards.
I think
got me 1.9 fantasy points. I'm over it.
I think that's a question for our resident Pittsburgh Steelers fans and the What's Up Doc podcast.
I'll reach out to them. We'll see if we can get them on the show just to talk about that, because I think that's a great conversation to have. Why don't we just open up whatever segment we do with them with John Michael, Dan. I just wanted to know, is CJ Stroud being a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett so far more indicative of Kenny Pickett's talent or Matt Canada's inability to run an offense? Go.
Yeah, and then
they could just combust into tears. Yeah, they could just start crying. And that's great. We encourage that. We love growth. We love regulated emotion. Showing, I guess. I don't know exactly how to say that, but
sure.
I think we could counsel them through that. That would be good. The Raiders are horrendous, and they managed to win. I don't think Josh McDaniels coaches again.
I don't think so either. Yeah. No, they look good. Even with O'Connell, I think his name is right. Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
At the helm, and what does that go to show, right? I mean, you get rid of McDaniels, you get rid of your GM, you bench Jimmy Garoppolo, and all of a sudden
you get rid of Derek Carr.
You get rid of Derek Carr.
Get rid of Garoppolo.
And now you win. You win games. You're winning games.
Just not a good look for how that was managed. I think it's also like Max Crosby decided, if we're going to win, it's because I go out there and play every snap and give it my all. And he did. He didn't take a single snap off. Every defensive snap he played. And if there's a guy that I don't want to play against, because the Jags have played against him and he was a problem then, it's Max Crosby. I don't like seeing him on the opposite side of the ball.
Right.
Yeah. Dobbs is going to start Sunday.
Yeah,
obviously going to keep the train rolling there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we already talked about it, where the offensive coordinator was kind of mapping out what the play would look like for him. Aerospace engineer brain puts it together. They start putting drives together. I think there was a 2-point conversion in there that they had run in practice that he remembered that he was comfortable with or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But obviously...
To him, it is rocket science. And he's getting it done.
Yeah, he got it done. So I'm not willing to say the Vikings are in good hands, but it may be better than what we thought it was going to look like.
Yeah, for sure.
There may be an outside shot for them if Justin Jefferson comes back healthy when he's scheduled to, and Josh Dobbs is still doing Josh Dobbs stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I guess it's time to move into a baseball conversation. Obviously, our baseball segments are going to be a little shorter up until the big breaking news drops or whatever, but plenty of movement already. The hot stove is hot stoving. We got lots to cover, lots to talk about again.
On the move.
Managers on the move. We got players declining options, picking up options, clubs declining options, picking up options. If you don't know what that is, we're getting ready to explain it to you, let you know
Yep.
kind of what's going on. We're going to cover our my Red Sox wish list, what I hope they do this offseason, as well as reasonable and unreasonable expectations regarding that.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Let's get it.
Yeah. Stephen Vogt. Let's start with the manager. Stephen Vogt is going to be the manager for the Guardians moving forward, replacing Tito over there. And I think this is a great move.
I think so
love
too.
Stephen Vogt as a player. I think he handled the pitching staff well. He was always a guy that you could count on to go give it his all when he penciled his name in. Even if he didn't, it seemed like he was always engaged in the game. I think this is a great move by the Guardians. Tough to follow up Tito, but if you had to pick a guy, like if you were picking a guy who had never managed before to follow up Tito, I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, no, Stephen Vogt, he's got a mind for baseball. I mean, the catcher, obviously, he's got to have an IQ level of that, and I think it's going to transfer over to his managerial role. I'm really excited to see how he flourishes in this. I mean, he's got a couple of guys too that we'll talk about in the Gold Glove winners. But man, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him to get that time.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what to expect from the Guardians this offseason, but I do know that whatever team it is, they're going to fight because Stephen Vogt is their manager.
Yeah.
Other manager on the move, we knew that Craig Counsell was always going to be leaving the Milwaukee Brewers at the end of this season.
Yep.
But we ultimately saw him replace David Ross today. So David Ross got the boot over there in Chicago, and Craig Counsell is moving in. He's not leaving the NL Central. He's staying right there. Just moving, I guess, towards the other side of that Great Lake into Chicago, going to manage the Cubs.
Yeah.
Gosh, we got to go figure out. I need to go figure out real quick here what happened to Marcus Stroman, because I know he opted out, which is a great move by him on his part. But starting pitching, they retain Kyle Hendricks. They are losing Cody Bellinger. Allegedly so far because he opted out as well. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Cubs are putting together, because they did put together kind of this small little nucleus of a team that over the course of the season, all of a sudden they're still in it. Then they made a playoff push, didn't really work out for him. But I don't think Craig Counsell is a bad manager. I think he's a very good manager that was always understaffed in talent over in Milwaukee.
Yeah, agreed. Agree with that. Yeah, so
I think the most talented player he's ever coached is Christian Yelich, and Christian Yelich struggled for 3-4 years.
Yeah,
it was like one straight cold streak for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, man, it was tough to watch because I mean we saw him like really flourish on the Brewers, and I mean we saw him even like flourish on the Marlins even, and like which just Marlins just blew it up. It was like we're sellers. But
yeah. Craig Counsell, I think it's a good move by the Cubs. I mean, I don't think it's great to be moving on from David Ross. I think David Ross did exactly what was asked of him, did a great job with what he was given.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will see David Ross managing again sometime in the future. I don't know if it's with the Cubs or with another team. Maybe it's with the Sox when Alex Cora leaves. But Craig Counsell, I think, is always a great move.
Yep.
The Yankees are losing their bench coach, Carlos Mendoza. He is leaving to go be the manager of the Mets. Man, the Mets are just an enigma.
Yeah,
I don't know what to make of them. They sold it. They sold it all. We're not expecting, at least I'm not, Peyton, you're not expecting Pete Alonso to stick around this offseason. Not that he's a free agent, but I think we do see them trade Pete Alonso. That's a big contract that they'd be eating up in this little miniature rebuilding year. I'm in wait and see mode on this move.
Yeah,
I don't know a ton about Carlos Mendoza. Obviously, if you're a bench coach and you're transitioning into being a manager, we've seen Torey Lovello do that. Bench coach for the Sox forever, moved into the managerial role over there in Arizona.
Yeah, we saw
obviously
Rob
knows
Thomas
the game
as well, being the bench coach for the Yankees, moving on to go be the manager for the Phillies. So like Yankees bench coaches, what's going on there?
Yeah. There may be something in the water in New York, and it's
for sure. Yeah.
Could be not healthy. But we'll see. I'm in wait and see mode about this move. Just because I don't know a ton about them. I don't know what the Mets roster is going to look like come opening day. I don't think the Mets know what their opening day roster looks like. Okay, I think the Mets themselves are still trying to figure out how to recover from going all in, achieving nothing, and then
Yeah.
rebuilding something. So we'll see. Mark Canha, we saw him traded.
Yep.
First baseman, outfielder, right-handed power bat. He's moving. Last season, he was with the Mets, got traded to Milwaukee. This offseason, he was traded from Milwaukee to Detroit. Now, the thing that sucks for him is the Brewers were always going to decline the club option to make Mark Canha a free agent. However, Detroit called and said, we will give you X piece in exchange for Mark Canha. The Brewers see the value in that. They take that deal. Detroit picks up the club option. So Mark Canha is going to be making $11.5 million for Detroit this offseason.
Wow.
I don't know what's there for Detroit. Yeah,
I don't
obviously
either.
Mark Canha's a great guy. He's an offensive piece, but I still think Detroit is years away from making a legitimate playoff push.
Yeah. Years.
That roster needs a lot of time to grow. Obviously, Torkelson. Oh gosh, they had that sinker baller come out of Auburn, Casey Mize,
Mize.
Alex
No,
Faedo.
he wasn't from Auburn, was he?
Yeah, Casey Mize was from Auburn. I'm
All
pretty
right.
certain about that.
I'll,
You can fact check me.
Yeah,
Pretty
I'll
sure
fact
I'm
check.
right.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to roster configuration of baseball. I know where guys come from, I guess.
For the Auburn Tigers, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll leave you alone.
But yeah, we've already seen that. For those of you at home, I don't know where else you would be, but if you don't know what a club option is, a club option is essentially an extra year extension built into a contract of any given player that the player agrees to, that the club agrees to when that contract is initially signed.
Right.
That gives the club the option to pick up that player's contract for another year for a given amount, or to decline that option and make the player a free agent. So if I signed Peyton to a 5-year contract with a club option, that means that 5th or 6th year, depending on the wording of the contract, would be the club's decision on whether or not to keep him.
Yeah.
Now, you can also have a player option where the player gets to decide, yes, I want to pick up that year. No, I don't want to pick up that year. Yeah. And that's kind of a built-in bonus for a player who's really good that you want on your team, because they typically get what they want when they're talking about player options. You can also have player and club options where both teams have to agree, or both sides of the contract have to agree on what that decision is for it to take effect. Tim Anderson, club option was a part of his deal when he signed with the White Sox so many years ago, or when he signed this extension with the White Sox so many years ago.
Yeah.
Declined by the White Sox, he is now a free agent. Mm-hmm. So a shortstop is on the market, a major league shortstop. It's not like you're going to pick up Tim Anderson and wait to see a couple of years to see if he's going to be a good player. No, Tim Anderson is in win now mode. It's his window.
That's right.
To go play meaningful baseball, go win meaningful baseball games. But I'm using on Twitter, there is a Twitter account, I think that's called Fair Value Baseball. I'm going to go look for it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
But essentially, yeah, Baseball Trade Values is the name of the account. And what they do is they evaluate a player's given performance and plug it into their machine that tells you how much money that player is worth, or what a fair value of that player is. Tim Anderson, a fair value for 1 year of Tim Anderson playing on your team is $5.4 million. Wow. Tim Anderson, if the White Sox picked up his club option for this year, Tim Anderson would have made $14 million playing for the White Sox. So the White Sox are essentially saving money here by cutting ties with Anderson.
Yep, saving
and
money.
Tim Anderson is losing out, because instead of getting that $14 million, he had a bad enough year where they said, we're going to go ahead, decline this player option. We're not paying you $14 million. He's a free agent. Does anybody call Tim Anderson and offer anything north of $8 million for 1 year?
I don't think so. I mean, just what you're saying, like if you want a fair value, if you just want to lock him up for a year, you just want somebody either to be there as a mentor role, or just to be there to kind of just provide some offense and some defense, because he's a great defensive player. I don't see it going anywhere above $8 million. I'll be surprised if it does, because as you said, he had a bad enough year this year that they were like, you know what, we're not going to pay you the 14 million that we thought we were going to be able to pay you because you were poverty this season. um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'll be surprised if it goes up 8 million, but yeah, I don't see it going up that high though.
Yeah. The Rangers have declined to pick up the Rangers have decided not to extend a qualifying offer to Mitch Garver worth $20.325 million. Fair
Wow,
value of Mitch Garver's services for 1 year is $12.7 million. So the Rangers do save the money. It justifies their decision
sure,
to not extend that. Now, obviously, we're talking about the business side of baseball right
yeah,
now. We're not
yeah, yeah.
talking about the relational side of baseball. Huge loss for the Mets, losing a guy like Mitch Garver who contributed as much as he did, especially during the World Series.
You said Mets.
Huge loss for the Rangers
Yeah,
is what I meant. The Mets should go nowhere near Mitch Garver. Anyway, huge loss for the Rangers.
yeah. It
However,
was just
as far
plummet
as
after
money is
that.
concerned, like that's the business decision that you have to make, and it
Yeah,
sucks. Josh Bell exercises his player option. He gets to stay in Miami. His player option picked up an extra $16.5 million. So that's what he's going to be making this year to play first base and DH for the Miami Marlins. 1 year of Josh Bell's services, based on his numbers and performance, is 7.9. So the Marlins are losing out here.
yeah.
Or they're not losing out because they're getting a great player. Obviously, that's the relational side. But as far as value is concerned, they're overpaying a hefty amount for Josh Bell.
For sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. The Cubs, they're keeping Kyle Hendricks for 16.5, and that's a great deal for them because Kyle Hendricks is valued at 18.5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're underpaying Kyle Hendricks and they're still getting the general all-star performance Kyle Hendricks that we've seen the past couple of years. Sean Manaea opts out of his contract with the Giants, and he is now a free agent. Now, Sean Manaea is an interesting case because his player option for this upcoming season is essentially valued perfectly for his player performance. So it's iffy as to why would you if you're definitely worth what you're going to be paid? Except for, I think Sean Manaea is an actual gamer and wants to go out there and win.
Sure. Yeah.
So he's probably moving on from the Giants, especially with the turnover and coaches there, to go try to find a team that he can compete with and win with. Now, let's move into my Red Sox wish list. I'm going to start with a reasonable request. I think Sean Manaea might be a good addition in Boston.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because we need starting pitching depth. I don't know how much of that Sean Manaea provides.
He's a lefty.
We also need to rebuild the bullpen. Yeah,
lefty.
Need to rebuild the bullpen. You're telling me right now that a guy like Sean Manaea wouldn't benefit from being in the same rotation as Chris Sale?
I think he would. Yeah.
Yeah.
But did we say the same when Nick Pivetta was in the rotation?
Well, no, Nick Pavetta's a righty. I don't know how much Chris Sale can teach Nick Pivetta.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, I think it's almost perfectly reasonable to say Sean Manaea could wind up in Boston, whether it be a bullpen role that he was with in San Francisco towards the end of that year, or it's a starting role that he was with San Diego. I think that's something to keep an eye on, something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Yamamoto is being posted by the Oryx Buffaloes over in Japan to come over to Major League Baseball, and that's the first step. They're moving towards it. I think they filed papers or whatever, but they're going to post an amount that it's going to take to talk to him pretty soon, and it's going to be hefty. Some club is going to be willing to go out there and do it. If I'm being unreasonable, which I am for the sake of the segment
unreasonable
right now.
take, yeah.
Unreasonable take. I think the Red Sox lose the offseason if they don't pick up Yamamoto or Ohtani.
Okay.
Ohtani has already been linked to Boston. I've already read an article that said Boston is in on Ohtani, essentially, and they're going to be considered to be like a big player at the table. Like they're going to be... this is all talk.
Right.
But Craig Breslow needs to start working right now. And if he hasn't, I need to understand why he's not, because I think Ohtani in Boston is something that could actually happen. But if I'm being unreasonable, it's saying that the Red Sox will lose the offseason if they don't get him.
Okay.
Now, my reasonable wish list is still hefty.
Yeah,
Bullpen
looking at it
depth,
right now.
you have to rebuild it.
Yes.
I need a right-handed power bat. Ideally, it would have been Mark Canha. Justin Turner turned down his player option, so he's a free agent now.
Hey, I'm a free agent.
I wish I had Justin Turner to rely on this upcoming season, but I don't. What if Craig Breslow got on the phone right now with the Angels and said, ex minor leaguer for Hunter Renfroe? Bring him back.
Bring
Bring
back
back
Hunter
Hunter
Renfroe.
Renfroe.
Yeah,
Yeah. But not even that. Like, that's just something he could do. Craig Breslow could wow me and go get another power right handed bat, but I need to see the power right handed bat.
yeah,
Because we have Yoshida, we have Devers. Turner's obviously a big miss for the lineup. Duran is coming back. He's going to be healthy. That's another left-handed bat.
Yep.
I'm not seeing the power coming from the right-handed side.
sure. Yeah,
Duvall, I think, was signed on a 1-year deal. He's not coming back. Like we're already losing two right-handed bats out of the lineup. So need to see
and
it.
Duvall was doing so well at the beginning of the season, then he broke his wrist, and it was so
I know
painful.
that was
So painful.
Last item on this list is I need an A-list starter or two B-list starters because starting pitching depth is ultimately what lost us the season.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say go get Blake Snell.
Okay.
Left-handed free agent Blake Snell, who just put up the year that he had. Chris Sale, Blake Snell, Tanner Houck, Pavetta. I don't know if he stays in the rotation. Garrett Whitlock, if he's going to be a rotation guy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're talking about a Boston pitching rotation that could win.
Yeah.
But how much can you rely on Chris Sale to be healthy?
I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, because he really, really, really needs to be good,
stay healthy,
and stay healthy,
and be good. Both of those would be amazing.
Would be great.
But he, the past couple of years, this is the last year of his contract too, and there is no player or club option at the end of it. So Chris Sale is a free agent after this upcoming season.
Hey, I'm a free agent.
You keep quoting Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
And I don't feel great about that because he left
after that, didn't he?
Right.
Okay,
so stop saying that.
I'm sorry. I won't say that again.
But if you're Craig Breslow, are you contacting Chris Sale and being like, let's start talking about an extension?
I thought you were saying, if you're Craig Breslow, are you going to reach out to Pedro Martinez? That's where you were going. I was like,
if Pedro can give me 20 plus starts in a year of sub 4 ERA baseball, you need to be reaching out to him.
No, but
that's what I need.
To go back to what you were saying, yeah, lock him up. I think until the end of his career. I don't even know how old he is now. I believe he's in his 30s.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry.
Don't know how old he is, but I know that I want to see the guy finish his career. Like, if there is a sentimental player left in Boston, it would be Chris Sale. Like, I think that guy was Christian Vasquez, but then he got traded.
Yeah.
And that guy now is Chris Sale. But if I have to sacrifice Chris Sale to get Ohtani, Peyton, just think about the possibilities. If you add Ohtani to the lineup and he's DHing, you make whatever sacrifice you have to put Rafael Devers at third base. Fine, we're going to get subpar defense while he's over there.
Yeah.
But Ohtani's in the lineup. Also, Ohtani in 2 years is pitching, and it makes up for the Chris Sale deficit if he's not still with the team.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm getting way too excited and way ahead of myself thinking about Ohtani in a Boston Red Sox uniform. You think that, okay, like I want to get a Devers jersey anyway. I'm shocked that I don't own one yet.
Yeah.
But if Ohtani signs in Boston, are you kidding? Like
every Boston franchise that I've started in MLB The Show, I make sure I get Ohtani when he is up for free agency.
Stop saying that. You're just making me believe it more. I desperately need to see Ohtani in Boston, whether that means he's meeting with the GM. Like, if we can just get the picture of him meeting with the GM anywhere around Fenway Park, not wearing Angels gear, that's a win.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I need to see it.
Moving on.
Moving forward, Gold Glove winners. This is something that you wanted to talk about. We are seeing the annual awards kind of get passed out at this point in the year. I think coming up next, we got Cy Young and MVP somewhere in there. Still got to figure out who those are. But the Gold Glove awards have been passed out. And like always, there's always that shocker that's in there. Like, I didn't know he had as great of a year as he allegedly had. So,
Right.
do you have it pulled up in front of you?
I do.
Okay, are we looking at American League or National League right
So
now?
I'm looking at the American League right now. You want me to go down
All
the
right,
list?
here, give me the outfield first. Who won the outfield?
So the outfield. So we got starting in left field. We got Stephen Kwan from the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, that fits. He put
Led the
together a really good year.
led the MLB left fielders in defensive runs saved, outs above average 9. Yeah, did a great job. And then in center field we got Blue Jays Kevin Kiermaier. That fits.
Now, he's a guy to watch. He is a free agent, and I am scared he winds up in New York with New York's need for a left-handed bat and an outfielder they can pencil in every day.
Yeah.
Kevin Kiermaier is a very good-looking man, and I think he loses something by shaving every day.
By shaving the beard. Yeah.
But I think he would be willing to forego the appeal it adds if it means playing for a winning franchise in New York.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that's his 4th career Gold Glove, his first since 2019, and he led among the center fielders in 18 defensive runs saved and 13 outs above average.
Yeah. Who we got in right field?
Right field, we got the legend grows, Adolis Garcia from the Texas Rangers.
Interesting. I didn't know he was that good of a defensive player. I didn't watch much of him this year.
Mm-hmm. This is his first Gold Glove. It's the 4th by an outfielder in Rangers history. Thanks to his cannon of an arm, average of 93 miles per hour, which led to 11 assists out there in right field.
Shoot, get him on the mound in Boston.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Who do you want to hear from next?
Who's at third?
So who's at third?
Third base.
So we got Matt Chapman from the Blue Jays.
Fits. No, who's on first?
That's crazy. Okay. Nathaniel.
No, Matt Chapman makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Nathaniel Lowe from the Rangers is who won from first base.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Who's shortstop?
Shortstop, we got Anthony Volpe, rookie.
Wow. Interesting. That's one that shocks me. I would have said that there's a better shortstop in the American League.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, if the stats are there, then the stats are there. I can't really argue with it.
Yeah, he's the second rookie shortstop to win the Gold Glove award, joining Jeremy Pena last year. Yeah, interesting. For catcher, we got Jonah Heim from the Rangers. A lot of Rangers. Yeah, so that's the third Ranger we've seen.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're going to win the World Series, you need to be able to play some defense, so it makes sense. They're all winning Gold Gloves. Who won second base? You didn't say anything about that.
Oh, yeah. Andres Jimenez from the Cleveland Guardians.
Okay. How about starting pitcher? Who won for the American League?
Jose Barrios. So that's the second Blue Jays, I think, Blue Jays player we've seen. 2 Guardians players.
Yeah.
And, so Blue Jays, Guardians, and Rangers. And then the utility Gold Glove winner was Mauricio Dubon from the Astros.
Oh, yeah. He did put on a show during the playoffs.
Yeah. Second base or in center field. He was really putting on a show. Yeah. So that's the American League.
Let's go over to the National League outfield. Let's start there in left field.
Let's start there. Left field, we got Ian Happ from the Cubs.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I would have thought there was a better outfielder, but if Ian Happ's winning it, I'm not totally shocked.
Yeah.
How about center?
We got Brenton Doyle from the Rockies. I
don't know who that is.
Never even heard of him. Yeah, he's a rookie outfielder.
We're sorry, dude. If you want to come on the show, by all means, please do come educate us on who you are. But I don't.
Rookie, Colorado's rookie outfielder. He set the Statcast record with 105 mile per hour throw to home plate. Against the Blue Jays.
That's impressive.
2nd.
We can't be handing out awards just because you're the best StatCast player, though.
Yeah. Beyond his outstanding arm, his glove wasn't bad either. With a fielding run value of 21, I don't even know what that means. But he's our center fielder, Gold Glove award winner. Right field, we got Fernando Tatis Jr.
No way he's winning awards there. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know in a sense why he's out there either. So did he win when he was at shortstop? And all of a sudden he moves to right field?
I don't know if he did, but clearly the shortstop is the most athletic player on the team if he's going to go win a Gold Glove in an outfield position.
Yeah, agree with that.
All right, who won at third base in the National League?
Third base in the National League, we have Brian Hayes out there in Pittsburgh.
That makes sense. Shortstop.
Shortstop, we got Dansby. Good old Dansby Swanson from
I love
Vanderbilt.
that.
Yeah.
That's the guy I expect to win every year. Second
Yeah.
base.
Second base, we got Nico Horner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good defensive player. I know who he is.
Yeah, no,
First base.
First base, we got D-backs first baseman Christian Walker.
Yeah.
Second
The
Gold
guy
Glove
put
for
on
him.
he struggled offensively in the World Series, but I mean, you can tell that he's a guy who cares, plays good baseball. How about National League catcher?
Gabriel Moreno.
Don't know who it is.
D-backs. They're the D-backs catcher. We've talked about him.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about a pitcher, and I was like, I don't know of a pitcher named Gabriel Moreno, but I do know who he is. That guy's tough. If I had to go pick who was my catcher, he would be second on my list behind Connor Wong.
His hand started swelling up when he got hit in the hand. He was still staying in the game.
Yeah,
so,
and they taped it. Yeah, tough cookie. How about starting pitcher over in the National League?
So the starting pitcher for the National League, we got Zach Wheeler from the Philadelphia Phillies.
That makes sense. He looks like he's Mr. Fundamental.
Yeah, Mr. Fundamental. Yeah. And to wrap it all off, our utility guy, Ha-Sung Kim from the Padres. He played second, third, shortstop.
He had an amazing year.
Yeah, he did.
His WAR was insanely high. The wins above replacement stat, he was up there around Ohtani level. I know that for a while.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, that's our Gold Glove winners.
Yeah.
There we go. Hold on. Making my way back over here.
Yeah.
Can y'all still see me? Because I can't see what's going on here. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I can see. Why you say y'all? It's just me. We're recording. We're not live. We have to pay to go live, actually. And we would love to do that, but you guys don't listen enough and don't interact with the show enough. We're not making any money yet, but we will pretty soon here. I guess, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us today here on Time is in a Hash Mark. So that is a Monday TNH episode for you for the final time today. I'm the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
And I'm the co-host, Peyton Pichardo. You dig? We'll see you later.
We'll see you Thursday.